Deathbound Update 2.0 delivers new content and refined gameplay. Now it's time to dive a little bit back into the world of Deathbound, with Update 2.0 brings a wave of exciting new content and gameplay improvements, as well as is offering a glimpse of what players can expect coming into the full release. So going a little bit into the story-driven parts of the update, Update 2.0 dives deeper into the lore of the Forbidden City of a Cradle, in which the world ravaged by the clash of faith and science. The core narrative remains a bit hidden due to the devs really holding back on heavy story implications. Players will now encounter more meaningful interactions with the NPCs throughout their exploration. Granted, now during this demo, you will meet one of the protagonist squads, and if we go back to the previous Deathbound, the original 1.0 update demo, you can come across a little girl and her father hiding from the horrors that await them outside. Now, similar to games like Dark Souls or Dark Souls itself, the very cryptic storytelling in these encounters pretty much flesh out the world's history and motivations behind its inhabitants. Now, going a little bit further into the story implementation, we have Gallium's crew. For instance, when we first get Gallium to come onto our team, you might stumble upon his battle-tattered crew. Now, I was playing this originally, I was like, yo, who are these people? I did not remember these guys. I'm like, oh, this has to be the new revised way of doing things. But at this given point, players kind of get their fresh of many narrative options to come across, and which this system adds a bit of a layer of consequence to players' decisions, letting the player's choice to change or shape the narrative. Just like when you're playing Dark Souls 1 to 3, whether you're playing Bloodborne, anytime you help out a character, depending on how well you help out that character in that given quest line, will dictate whether they unalive or they live. And that's just a crazy thing when I love about the narrative bits, and I feel like once Deathbound fully releases, we can actually get a better understanding of the story and how the world will shape on our on our choices we make when helping out different people. Well, like when we get meaningful NPCs to truly care about. Back in Deathbound 1.0 demo, the little girl and her father, that story was gruesome. Like, she only, and this is where it comes into having the characters in their different backgrounds and stuff, because you played as, if I remember her name was Reverie. I think she was a spear holder essentially, and she was a similar race or something of that nature with these two individuals, and that whole storyline legit just got sad fast, as of course in any Souls-like game they did not make it, and it's sad once you go get the little doll or something for her. But then to move it forward, to swap her out, we have Mandil Ogate, which is the capoeira master, and update 2.0 welcomes this brand new party member and swaps out the other party member for somebody who's a master of capoeira. His arrival not only expands the lore by pretty much introducing a new faction to the world, probably potentially with their very own storyline quests when the full release do get here, but also invigorates combat with his unique fighting style. Now, with being a capoeira practitioner, they are very agile, very good, and excels in close quarters combat, pretty much weaving through enemy attacks with their incredible agility. His capoeira techniques translate beautifully into the game's mechanics. So when you're playing as him, I played a lot of this given character, so definitely expect all types of kicks and takedowns and acrobatic maneuvers that you can reposition him within mid combos, allowing for just devastating counterattacks, right? But on top of somebody of Mandil's expertise, you need to also master something else in Update 2.0, which is the now revamped combat and the revamped of the party system. So the revamped combat pretty much just keeps you really on your toes. Enemies are far more aggressive now, so you can't just go in willy-nilly. When I was playing Deathbound 1.0, I was just slashing through them like this is a hack and slash. Didn't put too much thought, especially for the cannon fodder. But man, with whatever they changed, these enemies, their tracking or whatever the case may be, the AI is just got much better. And I like that add of like, hey, humble yourself, chief, because mastering the party system becomes absolutely necessary, especially taking advantage of the morph strike and the morphing evading system. But to further explain how the party system works, pretty much here's how that goes. So one, you have the synergy strategies, which pretty much you can just experiment with the party composition overall. So you could have like Mamdil agility that can pair well with the tankier character, because you can draw aggro, and then you can be able to use the morph evade to allow like somebody like Mamdil to just flank in and just, you know, unleash these crazy combos that he can do. But speaking of the combo potential, you can explore unique aspects of that, because you can get somebody like Mamdil and the existing characters. Each character pretty much specializes in a different form of combat, so you can really pair the squad up to be a perfect team. You can have the assassin for the faster strikes, you got the tankier guy with the hammer, and you can really build the team. Now of course, building this team means you also have to pay attention to what they do and they don't like, as if they don't like the same thing or believe in the same thing, there is a debuff. If they do like it, like whatever the same thing is, there's technically 2 buffs you can get from that, really putting emphasis on party composition. But let's go a little bit on some of the overall changes. Thanks to Deathbound really caring about their player base, they actually acknowledged players' feedback from the very first Deathbound 1.0. The tutorials have been completely revamped, offering a more clear and concise introduction to the party system's intricacies, as well as the core mechanics, with very effective combat strategies. I'm actually quite very impressed and surprised of how far it's come in only like I think a month's time. Because I remember the Deathbound 1.0 update started like very early February, and now we're into March, and like in a month's time they have changed a decent amount to the game. As that's a little bit on the surface level things, I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of these smaller things that the update brings to the table, and it reaches beyond just overall core gameplay. The additional improvements like the phylactery, which this acts as this game's bonfire. Now this basically has a more easier system to work through. Nothing's too crazy in how it changed. The overall design of it looks a lot better than it did in the first game, and still leveling up the characters and swapping out just feels just a little bit more smoother. Like everything about the bonfire or the phylactery just feels better overall. The hit detection is a lot better, so they improved on the hit collision detection, which pretty much just ensures that you have a bit of a more responsive and satisfying combat experience, which your attacks will just land now more consistently, and theirs will as well, because trust me, they were smacking the ever-living you know what out of me, man. But it also helps create precision and control while you're fighting. The UI overall has got a massive upgrade. It got a nice little makeover. Basically, it's a little bit more clear. The readability is a lot better, and I'm blind as is with glasses. Information about the character stats and the enemy health bars, item descriptions is just presented a lot easier to read, just making it a bit user friendly. And of course, for us PC players, I played this entire game on a controller, and the keyboard mapping is now here, so you can be able to do, you can map all of your keyboard bindings together, or you could be like me and just slap a controller to it, call it a day. And honestly, I feel like this game will still be better played on controller overall. I know we can use a keyboard, but God, this does nothing, like it just doesn't feel right not playing with a controller. I don't know, it might be a me thing. Let me know if you guys think about that in the comments below. But Deathbound 2.0 paints quite the promising picture for the game's future. The world feels richer, the combat is much deeper, and the party system is a lot funner and more strategic. With a new character, a more of a robust narrative, and refined mechanics, Update 2.0 offers an exciting glimpse into what players can really expect in full release. But I want you guys to stay tuned, Outcast, as we delve deeper into the world of Deathbound. With any new updates that come out, I will do my very best, as always, to cover it. But other than that, it's been your host, KICTV, here at Chaotic Inc., signing out. Peace.
Right things, I make them manifest. I don't sleep, that's so weak, don't plan to rest. I'm from a hood where you die if you don't pack a vest. No culinary degrees, but whipping crack the best. Chefing, hard times taught lessons. Praying every night to pull up and park Benzes. What's my home is what you call trenches. You wouldn't last a day seeing life through all lenses. It's all tension, no sun and rain and plenty. Full-time job, still can never make